Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Wednesday. No, it's not Friday, but we're going to do a special stream tonight. So if you guys pay attention to the channel, just last week I did a quick survey, a poll within my community, and I asked you guys, are you aware of the fact that the ATF is proposing a new rule that's going to redefine frames and receivers, serialization, which I believe is going to lead to potentially a lot of other things. So we're going to bring on my friend John Crump in just 2 minutes here. He is, I don't want to say an expert, but he knows a lot more than I and most of us do about this. Now, a lot of you guys said you're not even aware that this proposed rulemaking is coming into play. And I know in the chat right now, a lot of you are typing in, I will not comply. I don't care what the ATF says. And that's great. That's fine with me. I'm not law enforcement. And I hope that you're always exercising your God-given and Second Amendment protected right to keep and bear arms. However, what we're going to do tonight is talk about how draconian this rule is, both on its face, intentionally vaguely written to where it could become much worse if it gets implemented, and if it were to get implemented as time goes on. So we're going to offer you guys a little bit of encouragement, maybe some ways to prepare, hedge your bets per se, in case this does go through, just to make sure everybody has what they need, because you guys are all very good people, and we need to keep up the fight, and we need to have the proper tools necessary for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, because that's what this is all about. And if you have that, what more would you possibly need, right? So if you guys want to help support my channel, there's links down in the description. They call her Susan Wiki. She's not been too nice to the channel lately. In fact, didn't even send out any notifications at all for my video yesterday. So if you guys have questions, we'll try to answer them when we can. Of course, any super chats, we'll be sure to get to those, and those do help the channel. And before I get John on here, very special shout out to Linda 2A Girl. It's her birthday today, and she's very special. And I think she just turned 21. Now, hold on, guys. You can flirt with her a little bit, but I heard her guy is pretty tough. So everyone wish her a happy birthday. She just turned 21 today is what I heard. So we're going to talk about this stuff, and hey, we need to all get involved. And hopefully this is to motivate you guys and just help you know what we're up against. So I am going to bring on my friend John Crump with AmmoLand and GOA. How's it going, John?
I am doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. It's 90 degrees, but I'm here with all my friends, so I'm doing good.
Yeah, that must be killing you out there.
It's hot in my shop right now, but hey, luckily I have my nice 2A EDU mug here, keeping my drink nice and cold.
Where'd you get that from?
Black Swan Tactical. And in case you guys didn't already know, this is John's company. And I'm really excited that I'm partnering with him for my merch, because I've had a lot of offers since I started this channel, but I don't know, I'm kind of a chill, laid-back guy, and when my friend offered me and told me he was in the business, it's just a nice fit. So I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem. People can also pick up the Future Felons of America patches too. We have one that doesn't glow in the dark and one that does. And tonight, one lucky person, if you buy it on this while the stream is live or after up until midnight, one lucky person will receive a GOA, not a machine gun patch.
Awesome. So you're going to pick someone at random, and that's a pretty cool patch.
I'll just throw it into one of the packages that goes out.
And that Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals en banc hearing is so huge, and I think we should do another stream about that in a few weeks. What do you think?
Yeah. GOA actually just put in their, my friend Rob Olson, in fact, just put in their supplementary brief about that. I got an article over on AmmoLand about that, what their points are.
Yeah, and I read that, and it's a very smart brief. Guys, GOA, like I said, if they ever fail us, you guys will be the first to know, but so far, these guys are probably the most and only non-compromised gun lobby in DC, and actually bring litigation that matters. So there's a couple proposed rules going on right now, and I think by now most people know about the pistol stabilizing braces. And if you guys don't know, maybe we need to do another stream about that. But tonight I want to talk a little bit about the little lesser known proposed rule, and it's going on concurrently with the stabilizing brace, and it's called redefinition. Let me see exactly what it's called here. It's called definition of frame or receiver and identification of firearms, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something at first, they call it the ghost gun ban. Look, guys, I use that name in my stream title tonight. I don't like the name. It's a fake name. It's a propaganda name, but this is what they've become known as lately. Now, where do you want to start, John? Do you want to explain just a little bit about what this proposed rule kind of says or is?
Sure. One of the things that the ATF is trying to ban is one of these, which is a 80% unfinished frame or receiver.
Yeah.
And the ATF is looking to ban that. Biden has pushed the ATF to ban it because they say they're being used in crimes and everything else, which we know is not true. Granted, there are some crimes where people use them, but the majority of crimes, 90%, the criminal actually gets the gun from either stealing it or buying a stolen gun. But it's usually not a legally acquired firearm, and it's usually not a unfinished frame, built from unfinished frame.
Yeah.
But there is this propaganda going around about these. I mean, they've been around forever. Of people have been building their own firearms since the country began, and there's this propaganda going around that makes it like readily convertible. They use the definition readily convertible a lot. To me, readily convertible is you can take something and convert it within seconds, right?
Yeah.
According to the new rule, it looks at readily convertible as being able to be converted to a firearm within 8 hours in a fully equipped shop, which is ridiculous because you can take raw steel and make it into a firearm in 8 hours.
I was actually just at a fabricating shop earlier today when I was talking to you. I've seen machine shops that could take like hundreds of linear foot of this and crank out hundreds of firearms in a day, right?
Mm-hmm. So that would make that readily convertible right there.
Just wanted to put this into perspective, guys. Go on. I'm sorry.
So that's one of the things it does, but it also redefines what a firearm is. It basically changes the definition of a firearm from what we all know as a firearm to any visible part on a firearm, including triggers and everything else. Will they make triggers and everything else firearms? No. The reason why they put that in there is so they can determine what is a firearm, because there's a little issue with the AR-15, which doesn't fit into the category of a firearm. Yeah. The lower on an AR-15 is considered the firearm. The upper on a SCAR 17 is considered a firearm. So they kind of contradict each other. So the new change will allow the ATF to determine what is a firearm, but there's nothing to say that they only have to designate one part of firearm. And that's where it gets really scary, because they can start designating everything a firearm if they so choose. They say they're not doing that and they're not going to do that, but they've said they're not going to do a lot of stuff that they end up doing anyway.
Yeah, so as of right now, on its face, unfortunately to me, and this is how they write all of these promulgations of rulemaking, they write it, in my opinion, intentionally vague. And they also leave themselves little loopholes and outs. So maybe right now, on its face, they're not proposing to call a trigger a firearm, but could they possibly later? Like, how far could they go with this?
They can go very, very far to make it every visible part. So that would be including the hammer, trigger, slide release, anything, and it would all have to be serialized. What they're trying to do is go to the European stand. This is what I think they're trying to do is go to the European standard eventually. In Europe, if you don't know, the barrel serialized, the upper serialized, the lower serialized, everything is serialized in Europe. That's why when you buy a Glock, there's a serial number on the barrel, on the slide, on the frame, and I think that's where they're trying to go.
And I'll show you guys an example of this right now. This is a Taurus G3C Toro, okay? Currently just a slide. Susan Wiki, not a firearm, okay? This is a slide. And if you're going to notice, this is the OEM one. This has a serial number both on the slide and the barrel. Now, here's where I'm going to give you guys a little heads up, and you can all think about this as much as you want, but right now you can buy this stuff a la carte because it's not a firearm without a serial number. Right, John?
Yeah, in Europe, it's considered a firearm, though, and that's why they serialize all those parts. And I think that's what they really want to do in the United States, which is sad. But I think that's what they are moving to, even though they say they're not moving to it. I know from internal documents they have discussed that in the ATF in the past.
Oh yeah, and here I'm going to show you guys a contrast. So right now, this is a perfect example. And right now, again, guys, I'm not asking any of you guys to comply. I don't want you to comply. I have my own private plans too. However, if this were to go through, we could be ending the golden age where right now, if you buy the firearm, see, this is how they look. This is not a firearm, Susan. Now, check this out. They had a really good deal on these. A lot of you guys just got these during their Independence Day sale, right? So check this out. This is a G3C Toro slide. And as you'll notice, there's nothing on there right now whatsoever. So as of right now, and hopefully forever, you can get that, and there's no serial number, right?
Yeah, another thing that they say if you read through it, is that if it has a serial number, it should be assumed to be a firearm.
I did see that, and I saw what they call split frames and receivers, and they actually show like different parts of a revolver, a semi-automatic handgun, rifles, shotguns. There's tons of diagrams in there, and the way I'm reading it, they'll show the lower frame, which we can't and won't show here tonight. They'll say that's a split portion, and then they show this portion, and they say this is the other split part of the firearm because it houses the firing pin, the chamber, all these different things. Is that kind of what it says?
Yeah, it's kind of what it says. One of the things they changed is that before there had to be a certain number of items in there, and now they changed it to holding any one item instead of having like a combination of items. It changed to one.
Okay, so this item right here, this is a slide. This would house at least one of the parts, right? That they're keeping track of.
Yeah, the firing pin or the striker would be definitely one.
Breech face. I remember reading something about breech faces or breech blocks.
Yep.
That's this is beautiful. Well. This is for G2C, G3C. This is a nice PVD.
That would be a firearm as well.
And right now, though, look at guys. I bought this with my own money as well as this slide, just so you guys know. Taurus didn't send these to me. They're a friend of the channel. They helped me out some, but look, I just got this. No serial number at all right now. It's kind of pretty, isn't it?
It's very pretty.
So here's the thing, guys. Some people are going to say, and look, at most guys in here, I'm just kind of reading the chat. Look, shall not be infringed only means one thing, right? And that's the way you guys should be. But what about people that like to tinker or build their own? As you said, has been legal since before we were even a country. What is this going to do to somebody who's, I guess, building their own or likes to play Legos? Or what's the potential ramifications?
If you already have the parts, you can still build it and everything. You won't be able to transfer it without getting it serialized and putting a bunch of other information on there that even firearms today don't have. But if you don't transfer it and you already have the parts, it will be basically the same. If you don't have the parts, that's where things get a little bit tricky and a little bit unclear of what the ATF can do, because the ATF has a lot of power to do a lot of different things at that point, where they could redesignate a lot of different things as firearms. And it might make building a gun extremely expensive, because instead of transferring one part, you're transferring 2, 3, 4, 5 parts.
Yes, and I even saw, now this is where it could get complicated. So say with this G3C here, this frame, this is not a frame, Susan. This is just a slide. If I wanted to switch this with this, well, from what I understand, this could have to get shipped to an FFL. They are going to create a new type of gunsmith, if you will, that's licensed to serialize things. So
Yep.
I could have to potentially get this serialized to match this before I could receive it, something like that.
Yeah, potentially you could. Now, all this stuff is at the ATF's discretion. I want to state that. So this isn't definitely going. They're definitely going to say that, but they can. And I say, you should hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Yes, and that's why I keep trying to say potentially. But here's the thing, guys. You can look, if I'm speculating on things, I'm not going to give these people the benefit of the doubt. Because even under the Trump administration, just immediately he said, bump stocks, get them gone. They went in there. And in my opinion, that's where that patch and GOA comes into play, guys. In my opinion, one of the most clear definitions that's actually ever been written. There is no ambiguity. In my opinion, there's nothing to interpret on what a machine gun is. But they pulled a new definition for the bump stock out of thin air. I'm kind of seeing some of this in there. Now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they kind of, when they argue that it's a machine gun because there is a single action of the shooter. But if you read the definition of a machine gun, it actually says a single function of the trigger.
Yes.
So they kind of play loose and fast with the terms.
Oh, they're conflating things. Like, look at me, person, this, trigger. Now, this seems stupid, guys. There's a bunch of stuff in here. This is some stuff that JSD was nice enough to send the channel. And as soon as we're done with this stream, I'm going to kick off a little series of things I'm doing to prepare for this rule. But this is a trigger. Like, we know what it is. But they literally changed, like, shooter, person, and tried to interchange it with trigger. I see the potential when I look at the proposed rules for the redefinition of frames and serializations. I see this potentially needing serialized, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I also saw something in there which I think concurs with current federal law, where they said there can't be any duplicate serial numbers of a firearm. So the way I understand it, just by the plain reading of it, and this is potentially, guys, I saw something like this, that if this firearm has a certain serial number, so then the slide has to match, then this barrel has to match. If I want to introduce this barrel in here, I might have to destroy this barrel.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's exactly right. And that's one of the scary things. There's a good video on the GOA YouTube page by Phil Roboli in the Minuteman Moment that actually talks about that.
Yeah, you guys should definitely check that out. Yeah, a Toro slide. This is it right here, guys. This is the conversion kit. Now, there's other things too that Toro, since a lot of you guys like them, are offering. And look, this was so hard to get. Remember when I told you guys the Taurus TX22 had a competition kit, and I shot it when I was down in Georgia, but you guys bought all of them. So I literally had to arm wrestle and wade through alligators to fight one of you guys to get this. But this is the TX22 slide that I would note is also not serialized. So I'm kind of feeling good about non-serialized barrels and slides right now. What about you?
Yeah, so am I. I want to address a comment out there if I could.
Yeah.
The one by Jeff Ray. He talks about why is the ATF focusing on legal gun owners instead of illegal guns on the streets, like people like illegal gang guns and stuff like that, gangs, I guess. I can answer that. They have a fundamental hatred of firearms. The Biden administration has a fundamental hatred of firearms. The whole entire anti-gun argument is just ludicrous and insane. It doesn't make any sense. It's not about making us safer. It's not about reducing crime. It's not about preventing murders. It's about their hatred of the Second Amendment and their hatred of the right to bear arms. And the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms are two different things.
Yes, they are. The right to keep and bear arms is inherent. And what the Second Amendment did is, first of all, there's a lot of comfort in this. At least there was back in 1791 when it was written, when the Founding Fathers actually believed in this grand experiment on self-governance. And they acknowledged that it was already there. They said the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, meaning it's endowed by your creator. And the only reason the Second Amendment and the rest of the Bill of Rights were written is prohibitions. It was to put the government in a cage. Don't tread on me, right?
Exactly.
And yeah, it's gotten to the point where, hold on a minute, this is good news. Joe Piketty, what's happening, man? Hey, I asked last week if you were out there listening to say hi to us, and we were continuing to pray for you. So I told you guys he was a tough dude. Don't ever say I'm lying again, guys. He almost died, and they literally, that's what he's saying right here. But I knew you pull through, Joe. What's happening, man? And another viewer of the channel that a lot of you are friends with, Gray Man. I don't know if he's watching tonight, but he's caught the plague too, and he's not doing so good. Last time I talked to him a couple days ago, he was getting progressively worse. So just hang in there, guys. Pray for each other, and I'm glad to see you're back and at it, Joe. You'll be all right, dude. But yeah, man, it's like, I don't know. I think you're absolutely right. You look at right now, the core philosophy, it seems like, of the former vice president's administration is he's just trying to take the old strong arm of the law. And a lot of it is scare tactics to try to scare you into not exercising your rights. And I think also it's kind of a witch hunt where they're trying to make examples of people.
They definitely are. That's one of the things that they always do. They try to make examples of people. When the Kansas Act passed, which said that suppressors built in Kansas and sold in Kansas and stays in Kansas are exempt from the NFA. There's a guy named Jason Kettler who obeyed Kansas law, and they try to make an example out of him by prosecuting him to the max for owning a suppressor that was totally legal to own under Kansas law. Now, here's the thing. They prosecute people for stuff like that, and yet when there's other stuff comes up. For example, I have an article that dropped today where they sent a bunch of FFLs in Texas and also Missouri letters saying that you cannot obey state laws when it comes to guns. That's the Texas Suppressor Act and the Second Amendment Protection Act in Missouri. But so they said you can't obey this because federal law supersedes state law. But then Colorado made a tougher law than federal law, and it actually violates federal law. And they sent those FFLs a letter saying that you have to obey Colorado law. So it's not about that. The ATF is a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah, I've always wondered how that works. I'm glad you made note of that. And that's something everyone needs to pay attention to. So hold on a minute. Basically, so you've got the 10th Amendment that basically says unless it's a right specifically enumerated to the federal government, that the power lies in the states, but ultimately to we the people. So states are supposed to have more rights as far as laws like this than the federal government does. But they've gotten this big hypocrisy thing. And I've always talked about that when it comes to, okay, if a state tries to become less restrictive than the Second Amendment, the feds always come in and clamp down, like the perfect example you gave. But if a state becomes more restrictive, nope, they can be as restrictive as they want. And that's the complete opposite of how this is supposed to work.
Exactly. But that just shows the hypocrisy and the hypocrisy of government in general.
Yes, and this is where I'm letting you guys know, look, we need to fight like hell against this regulation, all proposed regulations. In fact, in my opinion, the 25 to 30,000 federal gun control laws right now, every last one are unconstitutional. And we need to fight. But you guys also just need to be smart and realize what's going on right now. In my opinion only, I'm not speaking for John or any organization he's with, but the ATF is completely outside of the rule of law.
Oh, that is GOA's opinion as well, in my opinion. So I can categorically state that is GOA's stance on it.
Yes. Okay, good. I just don't like to speak for people because it almost sounds like a radical thing to say. But here's the problem. We're the normal people, guys. We're not radicals. We're not weird. We're completely normal, even though the former vice president and all of their propaganda is trying to make you feel like you're the abnormal one.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. If you ever wonder, 28EDU refers to him as the former vice president, even on telephone calls.
Yes, I do. And that's because he is. I call him the former vice president because he is the former vice president. So here's the deal, guys. You guys can think what you want. I would encourage you to, but I think if anyone out there is being a bit naive still, and probably not the people watching right now, but maybe you have a friend like this. It's like they can't do that. Ain't nobody coming for your guns. They can't do that. I mean, I've literally talked to people just recently. They're like, dude, it's a barrel. They can't make you serialize it. They can't make you go through an FFL. They just can't. Therefore, they won't. Do you think that's being a little naive nowadays to actually think they won't do anything?
No, I think they definitely will. They say that that's not the point of the rule change, but I think the end game that is the rule, the point of the rule change, because they have discussed that behind the scenes in ATF meetings that we want to get to the European standard.
Yeah, and they do want to. Kevin Sares, I don't know how to pronounce your name, man. Casares. He says fear mongering is the way they control the majority. Absolutely. And that's not what we're doing here tonight, though. I'm not trying to make anyone afraid of anything. We could just sit back and John could be hanging out right now with his family, and so could I. And I wish I was. But here's the thing. They're going to do this. They're going to do whatever we allow them to do is what it comes down to, okay? Period. At this point, right?
Exactly. A lot of people do think that comments aren't going to make a difference, and it might not make a difference when it comes to ATF, but we have backed them down in the past with the green tips, for example, and with the last time they tried to do the brace BS. But it also does another thing. It also sends a message to politicians that this is where a majority or a large portion of the U.S. population stands.
Yes.
And politicians want to get reelected, and they notice stuff like that.
Yes, they do. And it's what's called the court of public opinion. Now we've got, look, GOA right now is doing the main fight for the bump stocks, and that's a real court. Okay, so this is in the 6th Circuit Court of Appeals, United States Court in Western Michigan, and they just submitted some more arguments for this en banc, which otherwise means the full panel. So that's one type of court. And obviously, if anything like this were to go through, okay, they're going to sue in those courts. But we also have the court of public opinion, meaning if there's just enough people who are ticked off. Is that what you're kind of getting at?
Yeah, exactly.
And look, guys, as far as this goes, I don't care what you guys buy. Like, I don't have any of this stuff for sale. I'm not a gun shop. Some people think I am. I just put some, cool looking stuff in the background. This is a landscaping shop. So I could care less what you guys do, but I'm also showing you some stuff that if I were you, well, let me just word it another way. This is what I'm doing. I'm kind of trying to pack rat a little bit of this stuff away right now, because can we defeat this? Maybe not. But I'd rather have enough of this type of stuff, unserialized, pre-banned, whatever you want to call it. Pre-bann's not the right word, but I think you guys know what I mean. Getting it while the getting's good. I'd rather have this now while I still know I can,
Well, I'm just sitting here in my Amazon offices, loving the fact that everyone out there is so fired up about stopping this, because that shows you that people are waking up to what's going on.
Exactly. And look, John may own Amazon. No, he doesn't own Amazon.
I don't know. I have no connection with Amazon.
Why do people ask me that? Several people have said.
I don't know. I've heard that from a lot of different people. A lot of people have asked me about it. So I even started putting the Amazon logo on my lower third when I do a video.
Yeah, somebody said this to me. This is like a week or two ago. I mean, they have several times since, but I sent John a forward of one of the screenshots. They're like, why are you doing business with Black Swan Tactical, who's Amazon? I'm probably misquoting it, but they literally think that the Black Swan is Amazon. No, it's not Amazon, guys. My merch is not available on Amazon at all. Now, I have an affiliate link to Amazon. I'm not saying you should shop there. If you do, use my link. It helps the channel. But Black Swan, you guys are looking at the owner right now, John Crump.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I've had people approach me and say, we heard that you were a minority owner in Amazon and you retired a multi-millionaire. I'm like, I wish.
I wish.
That would
I'll
be
tell you
pretty
who's
cool.
speaking of the business entrepreneur. Here's that car with the super chat. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, I saw your patches.
Toxic Patch Co. The FFOA patch that he showed you guys earlier. That's the
Yeah,
toxic patch.
I saw another patch that might be coming out shortly.
I did too. In fact, guys, real quick, let me pause to tell you guys this. We're working on some exciting things behind the scenes. And like I've said before, I'm kind of been pretty ticked off at this place. They call her Susan Wiki, right? This one right here. She's a real beauty, but John and I are working on a little something behind the scenes that I'm going to be able to show you guys soon. And I'm also working on maybe another platform. So there's lots of stuff that we're going to be rolling out, including cool patches and other places to hang out and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I think everyone's going to be pleasantly surprised in the next couple of weeks.
I think so too. And I would note, I'm going to be sending these to all of you. Well, not all of you, but people that are supporting the channel. I don't have enough to send it to literally everybody. All of these are going to go to you all. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I would note, there's no serial number on this.
Oh,
so
it looks
these
like
are,
sorry, it looks like Swamp Dog Armory knows the story behind Black Swan Tactical.
oh, he does.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, someone's going to tell on us. A cookie gun. And I would know, this is a potential ATF ruling sprinkles cookie patch.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they ban that. Northern Australia, North Australia, I guess it is. It's one of the states or whatever they call them over in Australia.
Yeah.
They are requiring a registration for Nerf guns.
You know what? That's true. And here's the thing that's crazy. Like, look, guys, I'm trying to joke here. It's like joke, not a joke, but I'm being serious. But I wish I was joking. This stuff's making my head hurt. I was reading through this frames and receivers definition, and it actually said somewhere in there anything that looks like a firearm, right?
That is correct. That's why I was bringing up the whole entire Nerf gun thing.
So, like, okay, joke, not a joke. This could literally fall under the purview of serialization from the ATF if you read the plain reading of it. If it looks like a firearm or has the shape of a firearm, right?
Correct. Including parks in schools. Like that one kid, they got suspended for his Pop-Tart looking like a gun.
America?
Yeah. They kicked him out of school.
I know. Now, thankfully, guys, this stuff right now, in my opinion, and it's been dropping a lot lately in price, this stuff's still readily available right now. That's why, like I said, I'm kind of trying to, dig in the cookie jar a little bit, set some spare change aside. And here's some cool stuff that I wanted to show you guys real quick. This is a Patmos Glock 19 slide. This is made by our friend Jordan, JSD Supply. And I'm going to be doing videos on these.
Yeah, I actually have a discount code for people.
Do you
want it? Yeah, I don't know if you have one yourself or not.
I do not have one. He's not paying me to do this. I don't have any type of code, but
I mean, I don't get any money back for it or anything. It's just I if I ask them, hey, can you create a discount code for my followers?
You know what we're gonna do with that discount code if you want to share it with me and my viewers?
It's code Crumpy, but what's up?
Okay, you can tell them right now too. But
sorry.
We'll put it on that special behind the scenes thing that we're gonna be launching soon. I'm gonna have a code section on there.
Oh yeah.
To help you guys out.
Yeah, I'm sure I can set you one up too. And I don't get a kickback for it or anything. It's just, to help people save a couple of bucks here.
Yeah, and literally, there's actually companies out there that probably would give me a kickback. A lot of them offer me stuff, but I'm going to be doing some videos. Here's a 26.
Yeah.
Patmos. But look, guys, here's what I think we should all be doing. Kind of getting prepared and getting what we need.
Someone's asking about the SIG 80% from JSD. There it is.
Yeah. There it is. And this is just me kind of thinking here. You can all do what you want, but here's the deal. Look, all of us, we're kind of nobodies till we all get together, and then we become we the people, right?
We have strength in numbers.
Important. Yes. Now, there's something else here, too. And I'm an entrepreneur. I entrepreneur sounds too fancy. I'm a small know-nothing landscaper business owner, okay, guys? So I believe that businesses should be able to operate however they want. However, I'd like a lot more businesses to step up to the plate. People who are making millions of dollars. And some of them aren't really fighting so much, are they, to keep the products that they're selling to us legal?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, a lot of the companies I see doing a lot of the fighting don't even offer their products. For example, Nine Lit Apparel, which makes T-shirts and everything else. They have been in this fight from day one with money, time, resources, and they just make T-shirts.
There you go. And this is why I like JSD, because JSD has fought in the past.
And they continue to fight.
Currently fighting right now and is getting ready for the fight of their life in the future for the exact things that they're making and that they also personally enjoy too, right?
Yeah, JSD, X-Tech, Tactical, Defense Distributed are the best partners with GOA. JSD does a lot with GOA. They help us out a lot, and they're just a great company. And they might be part of a lawsuit here shortly.
There's a few things I've talked about, that we've talked about that you can let everyone know when those things are public, but I can assure you guys that in the past, currently, right now, and in the future, JSD's fighting like crazy and actually putting money and time into the fight against tyranny. And that's why I'm going to do some videos on their products, and I'm going to try to promote them as much as possible. I'm not getting commission. They were nice enough to send these items to the channel so that I could share them with you guys, but I basically asked them because I wanted to have a reason to be able to talk about them, and I think that's important right now.
Well, the thing is, they're not backing down. They don't play nice with the ATF, basically. They know it might hurt them by not getting favor with the ATF or whatnot, but they're not willing to compromise. They believe the Second Amendment is for everyone, and they're not going to compromise that value. It's like Phoenix Ammunitions is the same way.
Yep. I was just going to say that. He's my neighbor, probably 5-6 miles away from here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He has that thing. Did you vote for Biden? It says. If you say yes, it kicks you out and doesn't let you into the site. If you say no, then you can continue to shop. He also stopped selling ammunition to law enforcement. He said, you guys are going to go around. They call her many things in Michigan. We'll just say some people call her the governor, right? It's a family-friendly show. But when she started having state police going around, shutting down people's businesses, doing stuff totally un-American, he said, that's it. You guys want to show up to my shop? This is what he told the police. You want to show up to my shop, try to shut me down, violate my rights? I won't sell any of you ammo anymore. And I think that was a pretty cool stand, wasn't it?
Yeah. To answer M. Gabriel's question, I think he's thinking of Polymer 80.
Yes, Polymer 80. I reported that, guys, and did a story on that. There was a company called Diversified Machine.
Diversified Machine. Yep.
Yeah, I've done a couple, by my standards, viral videos on those. JSD's not been rated, correct?
No, they have not been rated. I wouldn't be surprised if they are, but they have not been rated. Poly 80 had them show up a couple different times. There's been some other companies that had the ATF show up a few times as well, but JSD has not been one of them.
And that's good. Now, Dark Mavis, what's happening, man? How you doing, buddy? He says no, because those companies, and I don't think he's talking about JSD, obviously, most of the companies out there, no, they utilize the fear to increase their price, and they're gambling with their future for a short-term gain. It's really sad. Yeah,
one of the things you notice about JSD, and I'll get off JSD, I just love them so much, is that they never raise their price on any of the stuff where you see like a lot of the other companies do that. Like the gun show, for example, they were selling out of stuff. I saw them at a gun show like last week. They were selling out of stuff because their prices were like $30 cheaper than anyone else's. And that's because everyone is raising their prices, and they just kept them the same.
And that's why again, I'm shouting them out, guys. This is not an infomercial. This is literally, I'm telling you guys what I'm doing. I'm not getting any kickback on this, but they've not raised their prices. They're still charging. I mean, there's been inflation on everything, but they're just charging regular price, even though pretty soon a lot of this stuff is going to be on the hot seat. And I could see other companies probably gouging through the roof if this rule goes through, where JSD will probably just sell out. But right now, a lot of this stuff's available and very affordable. So, yeah. I saw one. I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah, that is true. And somebody's talking about giving away 80% lower customer purchase info. I will have to shout out Polymer 80. They refuse to turn over the information, even with a subpoena and a warrant. They refuse to turn over customer information. And also Brunel's refused to turn over customer information.
That's good. That's good. And I'm going to have some exciting news about me and Brownells here soon, but we just have to wait a couple days.
Yeah, so I'm going to show. I do want to. I want to beat down companies that do people wrong, but I also want to highlight when companies stand up for their customers.
Exactly, and that's why I'm trying to mention a few people right now too, because people need to know. And there's some information you probably have that I don't have, but man, I remember like JSD, for example, they had to fight off the FUD gun show promoter. Then they had to deal with was it the Pennsylvania Attorney General that was hound dogging all their shows, right?
Yeah, the gun show promoter, the Pennsylvania Attorney General, and Firearms Owners Against Crime, which is supposed to be a pro-gun Pennsylvania group, but their president apparently told them they have no soul because they sell 80%.
There you guys go. So we're fighting the man, we're fighting the FUDs, we're fighting the supposedly pro-gun groups. It's getting kind of crazy out there. But we're just going to take care of ourselves for now, right? And what I'm going to do is try to take care of people who are at least in the fight. Like Linda 2A Girl says, we need people with balls these days. I agree.
We do. That's why I'm reporting on the stuff I report.
Oh, yes, sir. And I appreciate that, too. That's why I'm excited to have you on here and to be your friend, you know?
And over the next couple of months with what I have, I think the ATF is going to get very nervous.
Ooh. What do you think, Linda? Did everyone wish Linda a happy birthday? Make sure you guys wish her a happy birthday.
I might have a hard drive. Let me just say that. And happy birthday, Linda. Not going to say what's on that hard drive, but I just might have a hard drive.
From the Where's Hunter laptop? Something?
No, not for Hunter. I'm not going to say any more than that.
Speaking of which, where's Hunter, guys? Remember, I said in the last stream, he's now a purveyor of fine art.
So are we.
So are we. We didn't want to be left out. What's going on with that?
Yes. I was watching 2A EDU stream last time, and he was talking about Hunter Biden being a purveyor of fine art. So the next day, Black Swan Tactical had an art section, and the first thing that we sold was a 2A EDU canvas print.
Yes, it's literally canvas with the wood frame around it, otherwise known as fine art. So we're getting in competition against Hunter, guys. The Black Swan 2A EDU Art Gallery is officially open.
So if you want a 2A EDU logo canvas print, go right ahead and go to Black Swan Tactical. You can buy it. And that was inspired by 2A EDU and Hunter Biden.
Yeah, where's Hunter? Who cares where he's at? You don't need him anymore. You can have all the fine art that you want. And it's even a little bit cheaper than his, too. I think they said his paintings start at $500,000. Crump started mine at $499,000, and you do save a full $1,000 that way, right?
I think they actually started at 13 something.
Oh, nice.
$13 in some sense. I don't think they started at
dollars. Man,
yeah.
I thought we were going to get rich, and I was going to be able to cancel this show tonight.
Well, maybe I should raise it up. Will you guys out there pay $100 for a 2A EDU signed print?
I'm making so much money on YouTube right now since they didn't even show notifications on my last one.
VA Wolf is out there. Hey, neighbor.
What's happening, VA Wolf? How you doing, man?
And shout out to Band Talk, who is a lifetime GOA member.
And Band Talk, too. Any of you guys that are on the West Coast or like to listen to replay, he's got a nice little podcast stream going on. And it's kind of a shame that not that many people are watching it. And I understand why. Because, look, I have like 40,000 subscribers, and I put out a video yesterday And when I saw it only had a couple hundred views, I looked and I said, why? Because if people just don't like my stuff, that's fine. I don't care. It said 0 people received a notification. I was like, 0? So anyways, if you guys are looking for a good guy, and I really like his stuff, a lot of times I listen to it the next day, if not get in live when I can. It's like 1 a.m. Eastern time. Go check out the Band Talk channel. Susan doesn't want him doing what he does, but I like to shout out small channels here because it's really, really tough to have a YouTube channel right now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, my channel, both of my channels are small. I only got 2,800 on one channel, and I think 2,100 on the other one.
And sometimes we forget the forest through the trees. So guys, in the description of this video, it says at John Crump News, at John Crump Live. Those are links. So if you don't already know who he is, definitely go over, check out both of those channels. He breaks news primarily on the one. He's the source for a lot of my news that I break, actually, guys. And then he does a live show a couple times a week on the other. And I enjoy his shows. So make sure you check out John Crump stuff too. What else? So what else are you doing right now? I want to make sure you can give a shout out to your stuff too before we get off of here.
Yeah, I'm just breaking news today. I had an article on AMLAN. Actually, I had 2 articles on AMLAN. One was about the supplemental brief from Rob Olson, who is GOA's head attorney and also a chicken farmer. I call him the chicken farmer because he raises chickens, but he's a really cool guy. Met up with him yesterday, went over a few different things. I have a hard drive that's sitting somewhere in a secure location. Not going to say what's on that yet, but you'll all find out. There's so much information on there. I need a team. So I'm actually building a team of journalists to go through this hard drive. So that is very exciting. And then I broke a story about the ATF double standard. Also, ATF secret rule changes last week. And just breaking a lot of stories and talking to a lot of politicians. I'm meeting with the Republican candidate for governor tomorrow morning.
Nice.
Of Virginia, of course. And yeah, doing some GOA work. We're developing something that's going to be really cool. It's going to take a long time to develop, but when I say a long time, I'm talking about 6 months, but that is coming down the road. I'm really excited about that. And just looking forward to keep on fighting the good fight. And that's really it.
Awesome, man. And we're not ending right now, guys. Everyone does it at the very end. And I'm like, well, I wanted you guys to kind of learn what John's up to because, yeah, especially that one thing he's talking about, the laptop, not where's Hunter's laptop. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. You got another super chat from my neighbor.
Dr. Warren with the super chat. He says, 2A EDU, thanks for the stickers. Got them today. And I know a lot of you guys have been getting up stuff lately. So that's just our way to say thank you for helping make this possible. Yeah, what's happening, neighbor? VA Wolf 556. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. Nice to see you. He says, 2A EDU, John Crump, and most people here, you all are the best. And VCDL, GOA, FPC. John, did call those sends and reps.
Yeah, thanks, I don't know if he's talking about. I deal with a lot of senators and representatives when they have questions on the ATF or what's coming up. I deal with a lot of them a lot of times.
Yeah, and I'm always calling my rep and senators too. And I think you all should. Some people say calling does no good. Okay, well, what are you supposed to do? Just like nothing? Just sit there and complain? I mean, I don't know. I'm always calling. I'm always talking, especially on the state level. I mean, I literally, and all of you guys can too, if you just get involved a little bit, you can get access to your local state reps. You can send them letters. You can talk to them. You can meet most of them in their offices and actually tell them what's going on and what you demand that they do as far as the right to keep and bear arms or anything else for that matter, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We have to take part in the process. The time where you can just cut a $25 check or whatever to your local gun organization or your federal gun organization, that time is over. Everyone needs to get off the bench and into the game. Grassroots is how we're going to win this stuff, because the anti-gunners, they have billionaires on their sides. They have tons of money. They can pay tons of money to tons of people to do advocacy. Unfortunately, us on the pro-gun side, we don't have billionaires. So we have to work together and work through grassroots organizations and grassroots efforts to actually get out there and to convince people in Congress and in other places and in states that we want gun rights, and we will not take no for an answer. And it's our right. It's our God-given right, universal right, whatever you want to call it, human right, to keep and bear arms.
You're right, and we have to get active. Look, we say all these things because they're true, and these are ideals that we should keep fresh in our mind and keep perpetuating. But when we say something like we have a government that to secure these rights, governments are instituted amongst men, right? Yeah,
Right.
beautiful words there. But that literally means, though, that if we're going to have them govern at the consent of the governed, it means you guys actually have to do something, right?
Yeah, we definitely do have to hook up. Oh, sorry, I was reading the thing. We definitely do have to do something. I was reading VA's well, if he wants to get together. But we definitely have to do something, and we definitely have to stand together. We definitely have to keep each other informed. One of the things that we need to do is share information.
Yes, we need to share, because when I put out that this is why tonight we're talking about this. And if you guys have any more questions, I want to get back just for a couple more minutes and talk about this proposed rule, because I asked you guys who would like to learn more, and 80 something percent said they'd like to learn more, but like 12 or 13% of all the people in that poll I did said they didn't even know there was a proposed rule regulation.
There's a huge proposed rule and regulation, and what they did is they dropped one, and then 30 days later they dropped another one to try to overload us.
Yes, they did.
It was a tactic, and if you notice, they dropped both on Friday evenings.
They do, because they're hoping that the weekend, doing a little drinking, partying, or maybe you've just worked so hard you're kind of resting and sleeping all weekend, and then you wake up Monday and forget about it, is what they hope, right?
Yeah, so we have to keep everyone informed. And if you talk to a gun owner or somebody that's pro-gun that don't even own guns, you have to tell them about it. I have a friend named Ed who doesn't like firearms. He doesn't own guns. He doesn't want a gun. He doesn't want to shoot guns. He doesn't want to even touch a gun. But he also submitted comments about how they should not be able to ban these items. Ed is one of the most pro 2A non-gun people I know.
And that's good.
Because he's like, it's a right. He's like, it might not be for me, but I'm sure as hell not going to tell other people that they don't have that right. I don't have to exercise that right, but that doesn't mean that I want everyone else not to exercise that right.
Yes, exactly. And like I said, the braces thing, I love braces. And I've talked quite a bit about that. That's another one that's completely draconian, unconstitutional. We have to fight that tooth and nail. But for some reason, this redefining of frames and receivers, it didn't get all the glamour. It doesn't seem like as many people are talking about it. But I hate to say which is the worst of the two. They're both just infinitely bad. But I think there's almost more devil in the details with this frames and receivers one than anything else.
I think so as well. The issue is that brace companies are bigger and they have a lot more money in the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing here is that Polymer 80. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not a big company or anything.
Yeah.
But in the scheme of things, compared to some of the brace companies and the money that the brace companies have to throw around, it's not just the brace companies. Think about how many gun companies sell guns with braces on them. Pistols with braces on them.
A lot.
So they've all dumped their money together and created a industry group.
Yeah.
I think it's called FRAC or something like that.
Yeah.
And the 80% world, or the unfinished frames and firearms world, they don't have that. But it's just as important. And before we end, I just want to say the bump stock case could make all this stuff mute.
Yep.
Moot. sorry, not moot. So that's why the bump stock case is so important. A lot of people said, why do we care about bump stocks? And what they're doing to bump stocks, what they did to bump stocks, is their framework of what they're doing now.
Exactly.
By using Chevron deference to redefine frames and receivers and redefine pistol braces.
Yep.
And the bump stock was the first time that Chevron deference was ever used in a criminal statute successfully. And that's why GOA sued over that, because it's like, you can't use Chevron deference in a criminal statute, because there's actually a case law that says they can't. And both of these would be criminal statutes. So if GOA is successful in the bump stock case, that will basically make these new regulations go away, because you can't use Chevron deference in criminal statutes.
Yes, and as you guys know, I don't even like case law, to be honest with you, but we use it to our advantage when we have to. And Rob Olson cited case law in his argument. It's just the games we have to play in the society we're in nowadays. But have you guys noticed something? Every time we give them an inch, they literally take a mile. And when bump stocks were so easily banned and virtually nobody cared, guess what? Now, here's what we're seeing now. We're seeing that slippery slope. If you guys want to know what the slippery slope is, this is literally it right now. And it's playing out in front of us. And this former vice president is standing up there. He's incoherent, doesn't know where he is, but he does know one thing. He does know he's adamant against the Second Amendment, against the right to keep and bear arms, and he's against all of these things that are tools of liberty, things that you need to protect your family, your loved ones, and your country. And you guys need to realize that. There is no more of this. If they do this, then later on there might maybe be a slippery slope. Like, we're halfway down the slope right now, and the only thing they're doing is trying to add more grease to the ice so we can go down it even faster, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you look at the stuff like the Utility Air Regulatory Group versus the EPA, SCOTUS ruled that Chevron deference cannot be used on a president's order, basically.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened here. The president said, redefine these, and that's what they're doing. And they basically said that Chevron deference can't be used for a policy objective, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, because it literally says in the Constitution, like, Congress makes laws, right? And the former vice president or Trump or any of them, these are not kings. Do you guys remember right around the founding of this country, First Continental Congress, around 1788, a lady walked up to Ben Franklin and said, "What do we have, sir, a monarchy or a republic?" And he said, "A republic, if you can keep it." Now, kings sit there and just do edicts out of the executive branch and say, "I hereby therefore declare this on my plebes, on my peasants." And then armed people come and enforce that. In a republic, it's supposed to be run at the consent of the governed. That's all of you. And the slippery slope is literally going on right this second. And we need to actually get involved with this.
Yeah. And in fact, in the United States versus Davis, the Supreme Court ruled that that the authority to define what would become a law lies solely with Congress. And this hasn't been delegated to Congress, to the ATF by Congress.
No, it hasn't. They're not just interpreting. See, look, it's called the APA and all these things. That's how these rulemaking and all this, that's the framework for it. But even Congress never said, hold on, you guys can just like amend and redact and substitute laws. No, they said once in a while, like the specialty, these 3-letter agencies, 4-letter agencies are supposed to be experts on certain things. So from time to time, if there's something really vague in a federal statute, you guys can interpret that for the government, not supposed to be for criminal, right? But they could interpret things and be experts for the government in interpreting vague details, right?
Right. I want to get to a comment out there. EV3 Dale says Joe Biden thinks that tech exists to put a serial number in each cartridge. I don't think he does, but I think he's pushing for that because he knows it doesn't exist.
Oh, and if he can start serializing like this, which they're proposing that right now, guys, and this, the barrel, what more can he do? I mean, he can do literally whatever we're willing to let him do. And I want to thank Curtis Reynolds for such a generous super chat, man. I really, really appreciate it. I didn't do this stream for money, but I'll be honest with you guys. I did end work an hour and a half before dark and could have probably made about that much money cutting lawns. And I'm not a rich man, so I really appreciate it, dude, more than you'd even possibly know. So thank you. All of you guys, actually, not just because he donated $100, but all of you for being here, because your time is very valuable too.
Somebody's asking about the GOA clock. There was a box of them at the office.
There was a box. How do you get those?
There was a box I don't think we have anymore. It was like an old box from years and years ago.
Oh, okay. These are, well, of course you have one.
Yeah, it was just an old box found in a closet. It's probably from the 90s, all covered in dust.
I think there's more to the story, but I'll make you fess up off the record later.
No, that's it. So I don't think there's any more clocks.
That's how you have to talk to these journalists, guys. On the record, off the record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm used to doing that, switching back and forth.
Well, Gord has a good comment here. He says, subscribe to John Crump Live. I agree.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun over there. Talked to a lot of different people. Today we had a guy that was seeking asylum in Mexico.
Yeah, asylum from the United States to Mexico. What do you think of that, Smash Time? How you doing, man? Nice to see you tonight.
Yeah, he is one of the InfoWars hosts, or was one of the InfoWars hosts.
Yeah.
I don't know the whole story. Why?
Good to see you, Smash Time. I was a guest on his channel. Did you guys see that? We had a fun time over there. Maybe we'll do it again sometime. Oh, Smash Time, I need you to send me an email if you're still watching with your address. Because this is kind of his thing, guys. So just hold on 1 second here. My friend at Toxic Patch sent me some goodies, kind of some donut guns. And as of right now, if this rule doesn't go through, these don't need serialized. And I thought of you right away that you need one of these. I think so. Send me your address, dude. I'd like to send you something that Toxic Patch Co. sent me. Any last minute questions for John? We're at 1 hour and 2 minutes. Being an Amazon owner, he's by the hour and over by the minute. No, he has a couple young kids, or one young son. I'm sorry.
Two young sons.
Two young sons. I'm sorry. Two. I was right the first time. I've only seen the one, though, on the channel.
Yeah, one's 4, one's 8.
Okay, well, I've seen the famous one.
Which one's that?
The one that just turned 8.
Oh, okay, yeah. The other one will come down every once in a while, but my 8-year-old, he loves being on the channel.
Oh, yeah. My little one's on the channel, too, and some of the Patreon and channel members can vouch for that. She shows up in a couple little videos here and there. Here's the problem. Daddy's too strict and doesn't put her on public videos because there's many fine people, but then there's like crazy people, too, who watch the channels publicly, so I'm a little bit too strict, probably.
Yeah. Smash Time has a question. He wants to know what the dumbest thing someone has told me about gun control.
Oh, geez.
That it works. I would say that.
That was a quick answer, but it's actually a very smart answer that it works. Huh.
Yeah.
DLD After Dark. Curtis Reynolds bends AK receiver flats with his bare hands. I'm sure he does, actually.
Another one of my neighbors.
Somebody earlier brought up a point. It was Kathleen Music Lover, and I missed the chat, so I'm going to paraphrase. They said that if you buy enough of Hunter Biden's artwork, you get to meet Daddy or his old man for a little while or something, right? If you buy enough.
The big man.
Yeah. The big man. If you buy enough 2A EDU artwork at Black Swan Tactical, you might get something special sent to you from Linda 2A Girl. So there you go. Would you guys rather have contact with her or with this sleepy old man? So I think we got Hunter beat there too.
President Bush did. Somebody says President Bush banned assault rifles for a long, long time. I think that was Clinton.
Well, President Bush, the Bush one, the old man, Bush Senior, I call him. In 1989, he banned the importation of what he called assault rifles, and that's
Okay.
actually why we have that whole no more than 10 foreign parts. And you have them come in with a single stack magwell, thumb hole, butthole stock,
Yeah,
and then they have to
922R.
convert them.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
President Bush did ban those, and that ban's
Yep.
permanent and has never been repealed by anybody.
Yeah, 922R. So when they come in here, they have to, redo the magwells and everything else.
Yeah. And that's where all these, and then there's some company that just don't want to fool around with it and we just don't get their guns at all. Like, if you remember the French FAMAS rifle, those were just starting to trickle into the U.S. around 89. They had that law, and they're like, no, we're not going to play your games and do all that. So we just never ended up getting any more of those. Probably never will.
I would love to have one.
Yeah, I think Ian from Forgotten Weapons bought like one of 19 semi-autos that made it into the U.S. So if you can compete with his money, go ahead and get one.
I'm Amazon, man.
Oh, I mean, well, you should just buy the FAMAS factory and move it here then.
There we go.
All right. I'm just looking for any last minute questions for you because I've already kept you over. But, man, that went by really quick.
Yeah, it did. It was fun.
Yeah. So we're going to, I guess, let's just keep fighting the good fight together, dude. I'm going to be having a little more time. Like, it's rained 21 out of 30 days, guys. Literally. That's why you haven't seen quite as few videos from me. You're going to see a lot more videos very soon. You'll be seeing some of John Crump's news again on this channel. I love to report his stuff. And definitely make sure that you're subscribed to the John Crump live channel. Links in the description. John Crump News. He's breaking a lot of stuff, and we need to get behind him because he's really sticking his neck out there for us. And I appreciate it, man.
And remember, one lucky person who buys one of these will receive one of these tonight. I picked at random.
Yes, and the FFOA, guys, just so you know, there's a t-shirt and a patch. This is to raise awareness, to let people know that they're trying to make people's brace pistols into SBRs, and it's called Future Felons of America because there could be, originally they said 10 million, now most people believe 30 to 40 million people could become felons overnight. And we're trying to do three things. We're trying to raise awareness, okay? We're also trying to help support a smaller, kind of newer business, I'll call him, Toxic Patch Co. So he's a patriot, a really good dude, helping him out a little bit. And you guys are also helping this channel out and John Crump's efforts. So you can kill a whole bunch of birds with one stone with those patches. And I think there's only, 40 of them that were made, like, total?
No, there's 100 made. There's only 30 left.
Okay, there's only 30 left. And we might have something cool in the future. We will have something cool in the future, but when these are done, they're done, right?
Yeah. Usually when I do my patch drops, it's a one and done.
There you go. So this is a limited edition, and it's just to...
Yeah, there's 50 of the whites and 50 of the glow in darks. And there's like 30 of each left, I believe.
Cool,
so I'm pretty sure they'll probably end up going within the next week or so.
Yeah. And like I said, you guys, again, just do whatever you guys want to do. But the main thing is, look, we need each other. We need to get the word out there. We need to spread the word. If you feel you need to call your congressman, do that. I think that's what it means for them to govern at the consent of the governed. If you want to write the ATF letters, go ahead. If you don't want them to write them a letter, I'm not going to make you write them a letter. But you got to do something. You can't just sit back. Because even Ben Franklin, from the day this country, literally, from the day they wrote the Constitution, they said, if you can keep it. And right now, more than ever.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, John, I don't say anything else. Is there anything else you wanted to hit up real quick on your way out? Or?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. Thank you for having me on.
I think we did, too. I appreciate it. Take it easy, man.
All right, see ya. Bye-bye.
All right, see ya. I'm just going to read the chat here, guys, for like 5 minutes, catch up on a little bit. Because I was enjoying listening to John and kind of maybe didn't get to read quite as much chat as I want to. Yeah, this is what's going on. They write these things that are intentionally vague, like literally, where you don't know. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of squirreling away some stuff, just a little bit. I'm not a wealthy person, and I know none of you are either, but man, just to think, I don't want it to where it's like, man, I could have got this threaded G19 barrel unserialized without all the extra hurdles, without all the extra craziness, but I didn't. I mean, a lot of this stuff's pretty affordable right now, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm going to do a little series of videos talking about different things. And this isn't to try to talk you guys into buying anything. I could care less because I don't have any of this stuff for sale. But I want to shout out some companies like JSD who are truly out there fighting the good fight. Also, I want to show you guys some cool stuff from Taurus. Like a lot of you have got these G3C Toro slides. So we're definitely going to be trying that out. Having some fun. Due to you guys' generous contributions, I've got a little ammo squirreled away that some of you have sent me here and there. And with your super chats, channel members, patrons, all you guys, we'll put some rounds through some of this stuff. Here's the TX22 competition, which I've not got to shoot this exact one yet, but I shot one when I was down in Georgia a couple months ago, and it was like a lot of fun, like a lot. And yeah, 22, you'll have to basically give up an arm and or a leg or your firstborn for it, but I've got a little bit squirreled away that I bought back in the day when I could still afford it. But just think about it. Let me know, guys. I'll go back and read this stuff afterwards. Of course, these are all scare tactics, like someone said earlier, from the other side, just trying to scare you and get you demoralized. And you need to stay strong and not give in. But at the same time, they are actually trying to promulgate these rules, and they are actually trying to push it through. What do you guys think? Look, they always say it's never going to happen until all of a sudden it does. And this stuff's been happening. It's been happening at first slowly but surely, and then more steadily and surely, starting in 1934. And for some of you that are a little bit younger out there, 94 to 2004, there was a AWB in this country, and you couldn't get many firearms. And if you did, they had 10-round mags. They had special stocks. They didn't have threaded barrels, like all these things. This has happened before, stuff like this. Now they put a sunset in there and said after 10 years it would come up for another vote. And luckily they didn't vote to continue it. It was called the sunset clause. This stuff, if it goes through, there is no sunset. It'll last forever. And I've never seen a president. And look, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. I think you guys know what I think of the former vice president. This is about as bad as it gets, literally. But Trump, he said, if you elect me, your attack on the Second Amendment's over, and I'll repeal all the previous orders. He never repealed anything. Everything. He did do one. Let me take that back. He did one thing that helped get rid of some hurdles for veterans that were getting harassed for background checks. And that's awesome. But literally, other than that, he let all of the hundreds of previous executive actions, executive orders, ATF, this, that, stand. In fact, I'm convinced that if this stuff goes through, if these rules go through, they're probably never, ever going to change them, at least while the current system of government's in place. But this government will pass someday. All governments do. All things come to an end, even if they're good, even if they're bad. But the right to keep and bear arms, that's perpetual, and you'll always have that, as long as you're willing to exercise it. And I don't want you guys to get mired with stress, but you need to know the reality. And if you have a little bit of a heads up, which is what the goal was tonight, to get yourself prepared, you may find yourself better off than if you didn't. And you don't want to sit there and do nothing, because silence becomes complacence. And you don't want to be complacent in this. Complacency is not a good thing. And literally it says in our founding documents that these people will govern at the consent of the governed. And if you just sit there and say nothing and do nothing, then by default you're giving your consent. Now, doing something could mean many, many things. Like I said, I talk to my local state rep frequently, and I encourage you guys to do the same thing. I call my congressman's office, local, township hall, okay, city hall, things like that. This stuff does matter because these threats are literally all over the place. I'm just taking one last look at the chat here, guys. I am still going to do my Friday stream just like normal. This was a special extra bonus just talking about these proposed rules for firearms frames and receivers and many other things. Basically a slippery slope where it could include, in theory, everything, in my opinion anyways. John Doe with the super chat, thank you. Has anything changed with polymer 80s laws? We've been talking about that quite a bit tonight, and no, there's been no new laws, but guess what? Bump stocks were banned without a law. There's a proposed rule regulation that if it goes through, if everything stands, if everything goes the way it is, it will make it very difficult, much more hurdles, and in my opinion, probably a big increase in prices. But right now, nobody's taking this seriously. Nobody even knows about it. So I would rather tell you guys right now what I'm doing, which is trying to get a few things squirreled away and stocked up, if you will, right now while the going's still good. And yes, Nutty 420, good will prevail over evil. I mean, it has to. Literally, we have no other choice. We can never let this become a communist country. And if we do let it become that, we'll literally never, ever, ever get it back. And look, you guys have the right to keep and bear arms. You have many rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's not good enough for them. They don't want that. They want you to be afraid of them. Why? Because when the people fear the government, there's tyranny. But when the government fears the people, there's liberty, right? And I think there's a lot of hope in that. And you guys all do what you're going to do. Get ready. Don't get ready. When I say get ready, I mean getting parts and supplies that you may need in the future. Just showing you guys a couple things. Some people have literally just now tuned in. What's going on? I guess you guys will have to rewind. But yeah, this has been going on for over 2 months. And there's literally people coming in here right now saying, has anything changed? What's changed? That's kind of part of the problem. And that's why we're out here right now just trying to talk and spread the word. And all of you guys need to do the same thing. At least tell your friends that this is going on. That they're wanting to redefine what a frame and receiver is, serialization, parts that are connected to other parts. It literally says, let me say this for those of you just joining. Hold on a minute, and I'm going to get off here in 1 second. It literally says anything that looks like a firearm or is the shape of a firearm could fall underneath this. So on the plain reading of that, and I hope it ends up that I'm being sarcastic right now, but I'm actually not sure because of what it literally says. What about these? These are from Toxic Patch Co. These are donut sprinkles. Do they look like a gun to you? Well, that's literally what this proposed rule says. If it looks like one, or it's the shape of one, yeah, just let that sink in for a minute. Not to make you sad, not to make you angry, but for you to actually realize what's going on and prepare yourself accordingly. Me, I'm trying to do a couple things. Right here. This is serialized, okay? Because it was the OEM that was connected to the frame. You buy these a la carte right now. As a kid, a lot of you guys bought these. This is a G3C Toro. Look, check this out. There's no serial number on this. Look, I hope this rule doesn't go through, but right now we could be near the end of the golden age. This could become a pre-ban, a pre-serialized, whatever. And those of you that remember when you could get a Chinese Mac 90 for like $200, then they didn't come in anymore. And I'll go pre-89 ban, like an actual underfolder Polytech. Those were like $350 back then. Now they're $3,000 on Gunbroker. I'm not saying that's going to happen here. I'm not saying that's going to happen overnight, but certainly something will happen, wouldn't you think? So I'm definitely thinking about that. These are awesome. This PVD barrel, I would also note no serial number on there whatsoever, but they're proposing that these will need that. Look for different companies out there. John talked about some good ones. JSD Supply, people who are actually have been in the fight in the past, are currently in the fight right now, and are prepared to and will be in the future. And when I say being in the fight, this means like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like literally, as soon as you get involved with anything with the feds, have to go to court, suing on behalf of, defending yourself, it doesn't even start like in the thousands. It starts in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's the fight we're in right now. So there you guys go. Yeah, a lot of you just like to play Legos, right? You like to put a 4-inch barrel in this gun, a 5.5 in the other. Yeah, that's why I'm not going to get everything I want, guys. Don't get jealous of me. I'm not going to get everything I need, but I'm trying to squirrel away just a couple little things here and there. Davey85, you're right about that, 280. That's the problem. People don't know, and knowledge is power, and we're lacking as a nation, and we are. And there's people in here who are very, very smart, but there's people literally coming in here right now, tonight, saying, well, what's going on? Well, I don't blame you, but once you know, I think it's kind of your right. It's your duty. That's literally what the Declaration of Independence says. It said it is your right. It is your duty to throw off a tyrannical government. So it was all laid out. It was all predicted in the past, and they're getting ready to look, slippery slope. That doesn't even do the word justice anymore. And these rules could have such far-reaching implications. They could literally blow you away. Crazy stuff. And a lot of you guys agree too. I'd rather have something and not need it than need it and not have it. That's kind of where I'm at. I guess if nothing changes whatsoever, I think it will, by the way. I don't want it to, but I think this rule will go through. I really do. I'd rather have what I need. Worst case scenario, all right, cool. Couple extra Glocks, couple extra ARs, whatever your flavor is. You're not really going to complain about that. You can still have a lot of fun. You can have that feeling of reassurance that you're well armed and that you can defend yourself and your family and your country, right? Got bills to pay, everyone do your own thing. Again, you're all very smart people. You know what to do. But I'll tell you what, this stuff could be changing by the minute. And I've seen it happen before recently. I saw it happen. I guess that's last century. I was going to say a couple decades ago. But in the last century, I watched that AWB go through. And it lasted for 10 years. And they said, we made a mistake. Have you guys heard that? They said, we made a mistake. We put a sunset clause in it. They said, we'll never make that mistake again. Anything we do in the future, it'll be there literally forever. People will never, ever, ever get it back. But yeah, that's the TX22 competition. It's a pretty cool rig. All right. It says here that 0 people are watching. So either there's something wrong with the timer or it cut me off. I'm not exactly sure. Let me just check something real quick here. All right, well, it looks like they just took my stream down.